It is exactly 1 o'clock from the nation's capital, a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. I'm Stephen Compton Angering. In the headlines, former President George Weah terms CDC's national headquarters evasion and demolition as unlawful and politically motivated, calls on partisans to remain kind as it institutes a special committee for construction of a new headquarters. Over Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated concession agreement, U.S. government applauds Liberian government for honoring a U.S. investor investment. And also coming up in the news, Liberia National Police says opposition Congress for Democratic Change demonstrated respect for the rule of law during its headquarters invasion and demolition despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. And as well, Nigeria's military has killed 35 jihadists in a series of air strikes near its northern border with Cameroon, it says in a statement. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the actual voices of the news makers are all packaged. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers as well as the news bulletin. Welcome back, and now up next is the bulletin of news with Sam Andrews.
Former President George Weah has sharply criticized the Walker administration, accusing the government of interfering in a legal matter that led to the eviction and demolition of the party's former national headquarters. On Saturday, the Liberia National Police, acting on court orders, evicted the Congress of Democratic Change from its former headquarters in Congo Town and carried out mass demolition of the property. In a special address to the nation Saturday, the CDC strongmen described the demolition as unlawful and politically motivated. Former President Weah accused the Unity Party-led government of attempting to erase the Congress of Democratic Change legacy and contribution to Liberia's democratic process. He asserted that the Congress for Democratic Change had respected the rule of law and expressed its willingness to comply with the court's final decision regarding the ownership dispute, but claimed that the police acted outside the legal bounds, allegedly under the instruction of President Joseph Yuma Boakai. He further described the Unity Party under President Boakai's leadership as a force of destruction, while terming the Congress of Democratic Change as a political institution committed to national development and unity. Former Liberian President George Weah at the same time urged members and supporters of the party to remain calm and law-abiding amid the current crisis, revealing that a special national headquarters delivery committee is being established to promptly commence the construction of the party's new headquarters. Meanwhile, in response to allegations of interference in the court's ruling, President Joseph Boakai, upon his return from TCAT 9 conference in Japan, denied all claims against his administration. He claimed that the government, through the Liberia National Police, acted strictly based on the court's judgment and in accordance with the law, rejecting accusations of political motivation. Despite mounting public backlash, the United States government has expressed appreciation for what it termed the Liberian government's continued commitment to honoring its concession agreement with U.S. investor through the Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated. In recent months, commercial drivers and some employees of the Ministry of Transport staged nationwide protests urging the government to terminate the agreement. The protesters urged that the concession disproportionately impacts Liberians, citing what they described as excessive traffic fines, alleged involvement of Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman as a shareholder in the venture, daily mistreatment by state security forces, and the weakening of the Ministry of Transport's function. The Liberal National Police has lauded the Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and calm cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and demolition of its former national headquarters in Congo Town. Speaking after the eviction and demolition on Saturday, Liberia National Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman highlighted the calm and restraint shown by members and supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change, noting that their conduct demonstrated respect for the rule of law despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. He also added that the party's action reflects a high level of maturity that strengthens Liberia's democratic principles and values. According to Inspector General Gregory Coleman, such movement is not just a testament to CDC's leadership, but also a reminder to all political institutions and citizens that the country's democracy can grow stronger when lawful decisions are honored peacefully. IG Coleman further reaffirmed the Liberia National Police commitment to engaging with all political parties, civil society organizations, and communities to safeguard space for peaceful, democratic participation. The Liberia National Police Magibi County Detachment has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of a young man identified as Jonah Farnboy. Jonah, a resident of Mangibi, popularly known as Sweet Candy, was found dead Sunday morning in a pool of blood by local residents. Eyewitnesses and community members described the deceased as someone who regularly supported police operations in Kakata and denied any allegations linking him to criminal activity. According to them, Jonah was a peaceful and dedicated individual known for encouraging community members, including commercial motorcyclists, to comply with police directives and uphold the rule of law. Residents are now calling on the police to conduct a thorough and impartial investigation to bring those responsible to justice. In a related development, a commercial motorcyclist was reportedly killed by individuals believed to be criminals in Grand Bassa County. According to reports, the perpetrators posed as passengers before attacking their rider and stealing his motorbike. The incident sparked outrage among local cyclists, many of whom are threatening to take matters into their own hands by targeting suspected ghettos and criminal hideouts in retaliation for their colleagues' death. Meanwhile, the authorities in the county are urging calm and promising to take appropriate action to address the incident. The Liberian Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, in collaboration with Samaritan Purse, has certificated 39 Liberian returnees following their completion of training in micro-entrepreneurship. Speaking at the certification ceremony in Congo Town during the weekend, LRRC Executive Director Jackson Pay commended Samaritan Purse for the opportunity provided to the returnees. According to Mr. Pay, the training provided the returnees is not the end of the collaboration with Samaritan Purse, but the beginning, and call on the trainees to serve as good example among their colleagues. Also speaking, Samaritan Purse Program Development Officer Depli Savyesaki said the project, titled Homecoming Program, focused on working with returnees, was intended to empower former refugees on reducing their dependency. Some of the returnees from Ghana thanked the Samaritan Purse for training them to fetch for themselves and those of their dependents. The Ministry of Justice has extended its campaign on the anti-mob justice to the borough of Nukru Town on the Bushro Island. Speaking during the campaign held at the town hall, the Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety at the Ministry of Justice, Kora Kanoa, reaffirmed the government's commitment in the protection of citizens and foreign residents. She encouraged community leaders to serve as ambassadors of the Ministry of Justice in their respective communities to curb the prevalence of mob justice. According to Minister Konowa, mob justice constitutes violation of the law, adding that Liberia is governed by laws which call for the respect of human rights. The program was graced by a large number of people, including community leaders, representatives from the Federation of Liberian Youth, the Montserrat County chapter of the Liberia National Police, civil society organizations, and the Liberia National Police. Citizens Movement for Change political leader Musa Bility has expressed sorrow over CDC headquarters eviction, describing it as a sad day for Liberian politics and Liberia's democracy. Representative Musa Bility, in a press statement issued over the weekend, said Liberia's fragile political culture does not need any more humiliation, division, despite the fact that the matter may find justification in the law. According to him, the humiliation of CDC does not constitute a victory for democracy, and the only legitimate and proper way to defeat a political party is through the ballot box. The Citizens Movement for Change political leader pointed out that the event that occurred at the Congress for Democratic Change headquarters is cheapening Liberia's multi-party democracy foundation because they should not have occurred and no one should find joy in it. The opposition political party also cautioned Unity Party to stop celebrating CDC's eviction and demolition, but rather reflect on it because it faces similar circumstances back then when the political climate flipped. Representative Musa Bility noted that Liberia's democracy can survive humiliation and revenge, adding that the only way it can grow is through tolerance, civility, and genuine competition of ideas. The Senate Pro Tem Yomli Kanga Lawrence has raised serious concern about still fort handling of mining tailings in Grand Bassa County. Speaking on a local radio station over the weekend, the Grand Bassa County senator demanded refunded of monies collected by Steel Fund, noting that it has no legal approval from the Ministry of Mines and Energy. And about 500 students in 8 counties have been awarded scholarship by Prison Fellowship Liberia were funded from Prison Fellowship International. Prison Fellowship Liberia country representative Pastor Francis Scully disclosed that the beneficiaries of the scholarship program are children of inmates of prisoners from 8 counties. According to him, the project, codenamed Promise Path, is intended to reduce challenges faced by children of inmates in acquiring education. The program held at Painesville Community School was graced by students, guardians, parents, as well as relatives.
Sam Andrews there with the news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. And in one of our top developments, former President George Weah terms CDC's national headquarters eviction and demolition as unlawful and politically motivated. He calls on partisans to remain kind as he institutes a special committee for construction of a new headquarters. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. welcome back and thanks for joining us. Up next to this development now, former President George Weah has sharply criticized the boycott administration, accusing the government of interfering in the legal matter that led to the eviction and demolition of the party's former national headquarters. On Saturday, August 23, the Liberia National Police, acting on a court order, evicted the CDC from its former headquarters in Congo Town and carried out mass demolition of the property. In a special address to the nation Saturday, the CDC chairman described the demolition as an unlawful and politically motivated. We are accused the Unity Party-led government of attempting to erase the CDC's legacy and contribution to Liberia's democratic process.
Fellow Liberians, fellow partisans of the Coalition for Democratic Change, today we witness yet another testament of the Unity Party government gross disregard for the rule of law. Emboldened by impunity, they continue to abuse power, testing our nation's fragile peace and democracy. Their list of violations grows daily, from police brutality against ordinary citizens to outright disregard of court orders. We must, however, take the high road in the interest of peaceful coexistence. I urge everyone to remain calm, law-abiding, and respectful of due process, despite this partisan political mischief from the Unity Party government. In the legal battle over the ownership of the CDC headquarters, our party has always followed the rule of law and openly stated its willingness to abide by the court final ruling, regardless of the outcome. Yet, before the battle was fully exhausted, the trickled, happy partisans leadership of the police force, with direct instruction from Waka himself, spurred into actions. There was not a lawful eviction. It was a failed mission to destroy and erase the CDC in an attempt to fulfill their very wish Waka has repeatedly expressed to his lieutenants.
The former Liberian president at the same time urged members and supporters of the party to remain kind and law-abiding amid the current crisis, revealing that a special national headquarters delivery committee is being established to promptly commence construction of the party's new headquarters.
Fellow partisans, do not be despair. While we amid these difficult times, our party has faced worse situations, even from the very same actors we see today, and we have emerged stronger. We shall prevail. The UP leadership under Bwaka are destroyed, but we are builders. A special national headquarters delivery committee is being established to immediately begin the construction work so that we can have a modern, state-of-the-art new home in record time. We shall execute this while we embark on a national tour to inform our people. In my journey to heights I have achieved, I have seen such hiccups before. We shall never waver. Together we will build. We are survivors by history. We are blessed with a spirit that overcomes even the most tragedies and misfortune. Remember, the unity, strength, and identity of our party and coalition are not found in bricks and mortar. They live in the minds, hearts, and fighting spirit of our teaming supporters. Therefore, I call on every member of the party, our sympathizers, to mobilize and focus our energies on constructing our next premises. I must be clear, resist the temptation to take the law into your own hands. However disappointed we are by this outcome, I call on each of you to continue respecting the law and due process.
Meanwhile, in response to allegations of interference in the court's decision, President Joseph Boakai, upon his return from the TCAT 9 conference in Japan, denied all claims against the administration. He claimed that the government, through the Liberia National Police, acted strictly based on the court's judgment and in accordance with the law, rejecting accusation of political motivation.
The law is the law. It's not the government. It's the government implementation of the law. The police were ordered to do it, and they did it. Is that demolition is removal of the people from premises that don't belong to them according to the law. Thank you very much.
President Joseph Boakai there denied allegation of interfering into the court's ruling that led to the eviction of the opposition CDC former headquarters. Earlier, you listened to former President George Weah accusing the Unity Party government of political interfering into the court's decision. And to this development, now the Liberia National Police Margibi County Detachment has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of a young man identified as Jonan Feinberg. Jonan, a resident of Margibi County, popularly known as Sweet Kenny, was found dead Sunday morning in a pool of blood by local residents. Witness says and community dwellers described the deceased as someone who regularly supported police operations in Kakata and denied any allegation linking him to criminal activity. Let's now get a highlight of the witnesses and community members.
Everybody tell them niggas Steve about a beat line. Allah. Who let bloody and very they will play police station, the club is finding me. You see the man, different place. Allah. The rock battle, the man roll back for me. The rock battle, who will back for me. Allah. Nah, you see, all we have Magina can tell you, Magina know long people. The same thing, very good. I'm a witness of it. If you can say, being motorcycle union, we describe the motorcyclists on some occasions and stuff. Yeah, but for it to say stealing, Allah. Most often you see around the police station, sometimes serving duty and not them in the process. Or you are going to say to the entertainment center, Allah, I'm feeling bad. It's mischievous.
Voices of community dwellers in Margibi County there reacting to the death of one of the residents of the area identified as Jonan Feinberg. The Liberia National Police has lauded the opposition Congress for Democratic Change for what it described as the party's discipline and kind cooperation demonstrated during the eviction and demolition of its former national headquarters. Speaking after the eviction and demolition exercise on Saturday, LNP Inspector General Gregory Coleman highlighted the kind and restraint shown by members and supporters of the party, noting that their conduct demonstrated respect for the rule of law, despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. It also added that the party's action reflects a high level of maturity that strengthens Liberia's democratic principle and values.
The Liberia National Police commends the Congress for Democratic Change for the discipline, calm, and statesmanship demonstrated during the recent eviction process. Their respect for the rule of law, despite the deep sentimental value and history attached to the property, reflects a maturity that strengthens Liberia's democracy. This movement is not only a testament to CDC's leadership, but also a reminder to all political institutions and citizens that our democracy grows stronger when lawful decisions are honored peacefully. The LNP remains fully committed to protecting every citizen, community, and institution without fear or favor. Looking forward, the LNP will continue to engage with all political parties, civil society organizations, and communities to safeguard spaces for peaceful democratic participation. We reaffirm our role as a neutral and professional institution, ensuring that while the law is enforced, the dignity and rights of all are preserved. I want to thank officers of the Liberia National Police, the Joint Security, for the manner in which they conducted themselves, and the sheriff of the court as well. Together, by upholding peace and respecting the rule of law, we can build a Liberia defined not by division, but by unity, stability, and shared progress.
Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman there speaking. The Ministry of Justice has extended its campaign on anti-mob justice to the borough of Crew Town on the Bushra Island. Speaking during a campaign held at the town hall, the Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety at the Ministry of Justice, Cora Conoward, reaffirmed the government's commitment in protection of citizens and foreign residents. She encouraged community leaders to serve as ambassadors of justice in their respective community to that's mob justice in their various community.
We cannot continue to pretend that mob violence is not a problem because our friends and families have not been affected. With mob violence, you can never know the next victim. It will be you, it will be your children, your husband, your wives, or just anyone. Mob violence is not justice. Why? Because you will be killing or hurting the wrong person. Because we have a criminal justice system that includes the police, the courts, and prisons, and not angry community members. Because there is a punishment for every crime under our law. And even if someone killed, death is not a punishment. Because if we continue to accept mob violence as a way of life, we will all become victims of it soon. We have to do something about mob violence as a people. We have come as a Ministry of Justice, as implementers of the President's Arrest General under the rule of law bill, to say that we are completely against mob violence and we want Liberia and Liberians to be free of mob violence. As a government, we are committed to ensuring that your lives and properties are protected, that we all can live free from the threat of mob violence. This is our commitment. As a people, what is your commitment? We want to work with you so that Liberia is free from mob violence.
Cora Conoward is the Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety at the Ministry of Justice there speaking. To this development, Senate Pro Tempore Yomble Kanga Lawrence has raised serious concerns about Steve Fald's handling of mining tilling in Grand Bassa County. Speaking on a local radio station over the weekend, the Grand Bassa County Senator demanded refunding of monies that's collected by Steve Fald, noting that it has no legal approval from the Ministry of Land, Mines, and Energy. According to Hall, there is currently a legal case involving another company over the same talent, further questioning the processes of engaging the company, signing agreements, and granting authorization.
Now have the authority now to make those decisions, and because the tailings issue is still in court, and another company who does not have license has made some commitment and made their first payment, some payments to our accounts, and whatever they are acting on is not legal. So that is not a good repetition for us as a county.
Senator Nyombli Kanga Lawrence there speaking. Well, folks, if you are just joining us, this is a reminder that you are listening to the August 25, 2025 edition of King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe, and top stories we are following. Former President George Weah terms CDC's national headquarters evasion and demolition as unlawful and politically motivated, calls on partisans to remain kind as instructs or institutes a special committee for construction of a new headquarters. Over Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated concession agreement, U.S. government applauds Liberian government for honoring a U.S. invested concession. Liberia National Police says opposition Congress for Democratic Change demonstrated respect for the rule of law during its headquarters eviction and demolition despite the deep emotional and historical significance attached to the property. And away from home, Nigeria's military has killed 35 jihadists in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon, it has said in a statement. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Welcome back. About 500 students in 8 counties have been awarded scholarship by Prison Facility Liberia. The fellowship Liberia funding from the Prison Fellowship International. Prison Fellowship of Liberia Country Director Reverend Francis Colley disclosed that the beneficiaries of the scholarship program are children of inmates of prison from 8 counties. According to him, the project, coded name Promise Path, is intended to reduce challenges faced by children of inmates in acquired education.
Today's program marks the beginning of 2025-2026 calendar, which we call the Back to School program for students. You saw the parents, these are guardians who are very excited because some of those children, their parents are in jail, their mothers are in jail, their fathers in jail, or the caregivers in jail. And so we just brought them together to give them hope. Your hope is never lost because once prison fellowship is around, your children education is our breading, and we're going to make sure that because this is part of the arrest agenda under this new government to make sure that the kids have access to quality educations. And we want to just work and collaborate with national government to empower those who do not have the less fortunate people like prisoners' children. They are the most forgotten people. They are the most forgotten ones. No one wants to hear their voices. No one cares for them. And so we have hundreds of them that are going to be returning to school in 8 counties. And so we're just so excited, and to God be the glory. We say thanks to Prison Fellowship International and our mother body for giving us their utmost support, to have this program run again this year. There will be approximately close to 500 children across 8 counties, Liberia. But it could be even more than that because sometimes we go to do payment of school fees, and then you see some other children that are very much in need. Sometimes the principal will say, oh, this child is in school, but they have not paid their school fees. We sometimes help them to come in to help them so that they remain on the roster of the school. Last year we won the GW Gibson where we had to pay for few students who were in school but they have not paid fees. So now they're normal in places, and we're just grateful to God. We're hoping that this year they will even improve more. They should not lose hope because your parents are in jail, but you still have hope, because the reason we're sending them to school is that they cannot be wayward and they can't go to drugs, they can't do sexual exploitations. And so we just want to say to them that they have a good hope, and we will work with them to make sure that they have a brighter future, because these are the future of Liberia. Prison Fellowship Liberia is just so exciting, and we say thanks to the government for adding this aspect of their platform, which is the quality education for our kids of our citizenry.
And now, ahead of the news presentation is our foreign development, but this story sets the pace. The Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, in collaboration with the Samaritan Pulse, has certificated 39 Liberian returnees following their completion of training in micro entrepreneurship. Speaking at the certification ceremony held in Congo Town during the weekend, Triple RC Executive Director Jackson Pay commended the organization for the opportunity provided to the returnees.
I'm very grateful for that. It is not the end, but the beginning. The organizer, the sponsor of this workshop. I mean, a lot of things we sometimes underestimate. There are certain things that we think that we cannot do. Sometimes the power that we have, we don't realize that until we venture into the open. And sitting here and listening to a young lady starting our own business and where we are today, Lord, it's an inspiration, very inspirational. That's why I say feeling that I got here today is overwhelming. So I want to say thank you first to the proprietress, the staff, and all the people that made this happen. You know, we always look for government to help, government to employ. Even those of us in politics, everybody wants to employ, which is their right. But you know what? The space for employment in the government is limited. So you make your things, you make your own thing happen, and that's what you did right here. And thank you so much for that. The president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Newman Walker, the person that I served, the kind of respect he has for Samaritan Press. When I met him, he and I we were having one-on-one discussion, and we talked about, you know, some of the help and so on. Then he said, have you tried Samaritan Press? I said, oh yeah, chief. Then he went into the background and where Samaritan Press headquarters is in the States and where he knew more than I did. So for me to say thank you, it's an understatement. I really, really appreciate you. We appreciate Samaritan Press from the depth of our hearts. Yeah. The president of Liberia actually appreciate the effort that you are making here. And really, really are accepted and so grateful to you. You tell the country director and the board of directors, I don't know how ever your organization is structured, but tell them that the government of Liberia is very, very appreciative of you to help RC. Because what you have done here today, you lifted us, you lifted a lot of weight from us. Because these people are going to be entrepreneurs. Yeah. They are going to be employing other people. They are going to be providing opportunities for others.
Also speaking, Samaritan Pulse Program Development Officer, Dipelid Sashi, said the project titled Homecoming Program focused on working with returnees intended to empower former refugees on reducing their dependencies.
I know that anything that Samaritan's Purse is able to do, it's not because we want to do. We can. We do because God enables us to do. Yes. And God, you know, your prayers, when you pray, know that there is so much power in your prayers that moves the donor around the world. Yes. To donate to Samaritan's Purse so that we can then go and help and meet your needs. We don't do it because we want to do it. We are human, right? Yeah. We do everything because God commanded us to do.
Yes.
We do everything in Jesus' name. The main mission Samaritan Spurs has is we run to the fire where there is so much more need than nobody else can meet. Is where God moves. I just am so overwhelmed because I cannot believe that whatever you have been through, I can't ever imagine because I come from a very stable country. We never faced any war. We never had to leave our home. So I can't imagine your pain. Even if I try, I cannot. But God knows that. He sees your heart. You know, so sometimes it's good to just follow the Lord and pray and walk in obedience before the Lord. When I said pray like Rachel, and she said, well, they went in 2 weeks, nobody came back, right? It might have felt like a long time. But trust me, God was moving because we were there trying to figure out and pray, Lord, please provide us so we can provide. If it is your will, move. He did make a way for you here.
Sure.
And this is not the end, it is the beginning. Many of you will look back one day and say, oh, I started like this and look at me today. You might be employing a lot of Liberians, but something I will still say. As you walk out of this room, I beg you, hold tight on Jesus.
And now, on the way from home, Nigeria's military has killed 35 jihadists in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon. It says in a statement. The strikes were carried out in 4 areas to prevent an attempt by the jihadists to attack ground troops, the military added. Nigeria has been battling jihadist groups for more than a decade now, as well as violent criminal gangs, conflict, and widespread kidnappings for ransom. On Saturday, a group of prominent Nigerians, including ex-government ministries, business person and civil society activist issued a statement raising concerns that the parts of Nigeria were during wartime levels or slaughtered while the country was officially at peace. The group cited a report revealed in May by right group Amnesty International, which said that at least 10,217 people had been killed since President Bola Tinubu took office 2 years ago. It called for the formation of presidential task force with wide-ranging power to end the numerous conflicts, including that militant Islamic group the Boko Haram and the breakaway Islamic State Africa prevalence in the Northeast. Well, this is how we got home on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, here are top stories we close it further. Former President George Weah terms CDC's national headquarters evasion and demolition as unlawful and politically motivated. He calls on partisans to remain kind as he institutes a special committee for the construction of a new headquarters. Over Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated concession agreement, the U.S. government applauds Liberian government for honoring a U.S. investor concession. Liberia National Police says opposition Congress for Democratic Change demonstrated respect for the rule of law during its party headquarters evasion and demolition despite the deep emotion and historical significance attached to the property and away from whom Nigeria's military has killed 35 jihadists in a series of airstrikes near its northeastern border with Cameroon. It says in a statement. On this note, we'd like to say many thanks to our reporters, editors for making today's news presentation our sources. Sam Andrews was here with the news border thing. Janet Pessiman sat at control and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.